Although it is impossible to give a complete overview during this talk, I would nevertheless like to share some highlights with you. The following clinical questions will be answered. What is the treatment target and what are the surrogate measures? How to choose the first induction therapy? What are the options for maintenance therapy? What to do when your first choice induction therapy fails? How to get the most out of an anti-TNF treatment? And what to do when anti-TNF therapy fails? Let's start with the treatment target in the new guideline. Mucosal healing, rather than clinical remission, is associated with favorable long-term outcomes. And although histological remission is considered an even deeper remission, it is currently still controversial as a treatment target in Crohn's disease. This table shows that endoscopy is the reference test to diagnose mucosal healing. Repeat endoscopies to evaluate resolution of inflammation are impractical. There is an increasing demand to replace invasive procedures with surrogate non-invasive markers to evaluate mucosal healing. Fecal calprotectin has good validity and responsiveness, and it is a practical test. CRP and clinical activity indices, such as the PCD-AI, have poor validity when used in isolation, but a composite score of fecal calprotectin, CRP, and PCD-AI is currently considered to be the best suitable non-invasive test to evaluate the response to treatment. The choice of the initial induction therapy is critical. In patients with a pure luminal Crohn's disease, without additional risk factors, first-line induction therapy is either exclusive enteral nutrition or corticosteroids. In patients with predictors of poor outcome, including growth delay, extensive disease, perianal disease, or stricturing disease, upfront anti-TNF is advised. What are the options for maintenance therapy? Methotrexate and thiopurines are equally effective in maintaining clinical remission, but there are concerns around the long-term safety of thiopurines. In children with low-risk CD who achieved clinical remission, monotherapy with maintenance enteral nutrition, at least 50% of the daily energy requirements, can also prolong remission. What to do when your first choice induction therapy fails? If remission is not reached in the first 12 weeks, the panel suggests not to waste time with another first-line induction and advises to step up to anti-TNF therapy. If the treatment target is reached within 12 weeks, but the disease flares while on maintenance therapy, then reinduction with first-line therapy can be attempted before stepping up to anti-TNF therapy. The central theme here is no lingering. In other words, do not delay a step up to anti-TNF treatment longer than necessary. Tricks to get the most out of an anti-TNF treatment are shown on this slide. Remission is maintained longer when infliximab is combined with an immunomodulator. The available evidence overall suggests that adalimumab monotherapy is appropriate when started as a first anti-TNF. Other tricks to improve the effectiveness of anti-TNF drugs include therapeutic drug monitoring guided dose, and that is preferred to empirical dose escalation, and early proactive TDM followed by dose optimization. Therapeutic drug monitoring is usually done at the end of induction, and that is before the fourth infliximab infusion, when the target trough level should be over 5 micrograms per milliliter. But in patients at risk for accelerated infliximab clearance, an infliximab concentration over 25 and over 15 micrograms per milliliter at infusion 2 and 3, respectively, are associated with better outcomes. Early proactive TDM in adalimumab users is done at week 4, and that is before the third adalimumab injection. What to do when anti-TNF therapy fails? First, you have to find out why it failed, and you should measure trough levels and, when low, check for anti-drug antibodies. And this slide shows you what the remedies are when you have tested what was wrong. This slide shows therapeutic options after anti-TNF failure, or in fact, only one option is supported by the panel, and that is the choice for ustekinumab or vedolizumab. Probiotics and fecal microbiota transplantation are currently not advised to induce remission. So in conclusion, new themes in this guideline update include the presence of predictors of poor outcome. When predictors of poor outcome are not present, choose exclusive enteral nutrition or steroids as first-line induction. When predictors of poor outcome are present, you should choose for upfront anti-TNF therapy. Treatment targets not reached within 12 weeks of first-line therapy, that is a reason to consider early step-up to anti-TNF. And 3, close monitoring is necessary to evaluate the response to treatment. And this includes serial fecal calprotectin measurements and early proactive TDM. This guideline update was delivered by an outstanding and dedicated team of 25 experts representing major European, Canadian, and Israeli centers in pediatric IBD care. Thanks to all.